Welcome to the HohO Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from Weaponized Sloth Productions Studio B. Welcome to the HohO Show, and as always, I'm your host, HohO. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. We've got quite a few things. Well, we got a few things to talk about today. We really do. We're going to be talking about AOC, Homan, and the border. We're going to be talking about, of course, the attacks, the legal attacks, trying to stop Elon Musk and President Trump from doing what they're doing, finding, exposing, naming names when it comes to the fraud, waste, and abuse that's going on in D.C. and various other places. But first, I want to start talking about, something that I forgot to actually get into on last week's show, because it was something that I was wanting to talk about, but I didn't quite get to it, and that is tariffs. I'm going to be talking about those. And let's go ahead and get right into it. And, okay, I got to start by the beginning, okay? Whenever this country was founded, and for over half of this country's existence, we operated on tariffs. It wasn't until 1913 that we actually went away from tariffs and started doing the income tax, because before then, all of our nation's income came from tariffs. People that were importing goods into the United States in order to sell them had to pay a price in order to do this. And this worked out so well that we actually had to start a department in order to deal with the funds that we were getting. That's how effective it was. Our nation has never been richer than whenever we were actually using this method, tariffs, before we actually started taxing the American people for the functions of government. Since then, things have just gone downhill. Spend, spend, spend. And it seems to, yeah. Okay, so that's more or less what's been going on. For over half of our nation's history, the federal government was funded by tariffs. That's something that they don't want to tell you. They want to tell you that doing this, it's unprecedented. This is something that's never been done before, but yet they're ignoring our own history. They really are. We're going to start off by talking about this article from the BBC. Why don't Europeans buy more American cars? And of which case, the reason's pretty simple, to be honest with you, and it's about tariffs. I'm not talking about American tariffs on foreign goods. I'm talking about the tariffs that other countries put on American goods. This is something that's pretty standard. They all do it, and yet for some reason it's okay for them to tariff our goods, but it's not okay for America to tariff foreign goods? Now look, I'm not going to lie to you, all right? I'm not going to do that, because a tariff is something just like corporate taxes that is going to be paid, at least by some amount, in some way, shape, or form, is going to be paid. It is a tax that is going to be filtered down to the American people. Anytime you raise the price, raise the cost of something, let me rephrase that. Anytime you raise the cost of something, you are going to raise the price of something. That's just how it is. So whenever you raise corporate taxes, that's not a tax on any corporation. That's a tax on the people. That's a tax on the people that buy the goods and use the services. It's just the truth. And these people in Washington, they want to ignore that fact. They don't want to tell you that, a corporate tax is a tax on the people. They want to lie to you and tell you that it's not. Tell you that it's a tax on a corporation, that it's not going to affect in any way, shape, or form the price of goods and services, but that's just not true. It just isn't. And yes, tariffs are is going to make the price of things higher. It really is. But one of the things that President Trump wants to do is he wants to make things fair. Because as it stood before President Trump, they would put a tariff or they would put a tax, a value-added tax, and they would attach that to every single thing that America tried to sell in their countries. Why don't Europeans buy more American cars? Well, because they tariff the crap out of it. They tax the crap out of it. They put it in, they make it to where the price point is so high that people over there can't really afford it unless you're, of a higher income bracket and you can't afford it. That's what it amounts to. They're doing it to protect their own economy. They're doing it to protect their own workers. They're doing it to protect themselves. Standard practice, right? And that's what it is. It's standard practice. That's how they do it. And that's how they've been doing it forever. China does it. Canada does it. Mexico does it. Japan does it. Every single country taxes Americans' goods, tariffs American goods, and it's not fair. That's what Trump wants to do. He wants to make it fair. This article from Le Monde, I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm just going to be honest with you. But the headline says Trump announces reciprocal tariffs on both allies and adversaries. And I'm all for this. I really am. I'm completely for this because this is how it should be done. This is how our nation got its funding for the first half of our nation's history. We tariffed other countries who wished to sell goods and services over here. That's how we did it. But if you're going to tax and tariff our goods, why shouldn't we tax and tariff yours? It's reciprocal. It's fair. That's the way it should be done. They price our stuff to the point to where people can't buy them in other countries. Again, they do it to protect their own workers. They do it to protect their own economy. They do it to protect themselves. But for some reason, we're not supposed to be able to do the same thing. And of which case, if we do this, start taxing other goods, it's going to be a positive thing for American workers. So why is it that some labor unions, why is it that Democrats are like, no, we can't do this. This is unfair. This is unprecedented. This is going to, cause huge prices. This is going to cause inflation. It's like, okay, well, let's be honest about it. At first, yeah, maybe. It will, sure, absolutely. It is going to raise prices. It is going to cause, is it going to cause inflation? Is it going to raise the cost of goods and services? Well, if you're buying foreign goods, then yeah. But here's what it amounts to. Every single nation out there that produces goods and services, they rely on the American economy. They do. They talked about, or at least, this was part of some of the articles that I got from last week. And in which case, check out last week's Flipboard in order to, see some of these articles that I'm talking about because they are in there. And of which case, you can always head on over to the HoHoShow.com. Just click on the newsfeed tab there towards the top of the page, and you'll see the Flipboard magazine that I have. That's the magazine that's available over there on Flipboard, and that's my go-to hub for everything news. Head over there, check that out. All the articles that I have are available over there. You can fact check me, you can check them out, and this way you know that I'm not lying to you. I'm really not. I make sure that everything, I'm as transparent as possible. I am. And there's a lot of those articles that are in last week's magazine. But yes, it is going to be a tax. Yes, it is going to raise prices. But the bottom line is, just like other countries protecting their own workers and their own economy, that's one of the things that President Trump is wanting to do. He's wanting to expand the workforce, not by expanding government. He's wanting to expand the workforce by expanding and bringing more businesses back to the United States. That's what he's wanting to do. Because he's telling these countries like, hey, look, if you if you want to get around these tariffs, then, well, what you should do is build a manufacturing factory over here in the United States. That's how you get around tariffs. And this is something that we have done and other countries has done in order to put products in other countries. That's one of the things that we did in order to get around tariffs over in China. We put some of the manufacturing over there in China to get around it. So, it's common practice for us to do that in other countries, but yet, we don't expect other countries to reciprocate, to do the same thing. Instead, it seems as though those in government would much rather see manufacturing and jobs leave the United States instead of, doing practices and having policies that would attract it. So Trump announced, if you want to get around these policies, because we are going to enact it, we are enacting it. If you want to get around that, if you want to stop having your goods and services tariffed, then bring your business over here. That's going to expand the workforce, increase the taxes. Overall, it's a win-win for America. It is. But yet they don't want to acknowledge that. They want to ignore that. They want to try to tell you that orange man bad. Okay. This article from the BBC, is Trump right when he says the U.S. faces unfair trade? Absolutely he is. Because we have been for a very long time, because like I said, government, these various people in Congress, they want, and they have been exercising practices that has driven companies, business, manufacturing away from the United States by heavy taxes, heavy, big corporate taxes, by, just letting a country do to America whatever they want to without any repercussions whatsoever. And President Trump is putting a stop to it. He's saying no more. He's saying we're done. We're done taking a knee. We're done, because, it's like, this is kind of what it amounts to, all right? All these countries, these businesses that are in other countries, they all rely on, like I said, the economy of the United States of America. They sell their goods and services over here. The largest part of manufacturing in Canada gets imported in the United States. Like 80% of Mexico's goods and services get sold in the United States. They need us. They need us. There's a reason they want to export their goods and services here. There's a reason China wants to export their goods over here. There's a reason for that. Their economies depend on it. The United States has all the power here. The president has all the power here. Because by doing this, and if they don't want to acknowledge the truth, they are going to cripple their own economy. They're going to destroy their own economy. They're going to bankrupt these countries that do business here in the United States. That's what's going to happen. That's why whenever President Trump, spoke of these tariffs being added to Mexico and Canada, both of them, they threw their temper tantrum. They got mad. They were like, oh, this is horrible. This is ridiculous, yada, yada, blah, blah. But at the end, what did they do? A very short time afterwards, they said, okay, fine. They gave in. They kissed the ring of President Trump. They said, okay, fine. We will do what it is you want us to do. We'll help defend your borders. We'll stand up to the cartels. We'll stop the drug trafficking. They gave in. Why did they give in? Because they knew Trump was serious. They knew Trump was going to do what he said he was going to do. They knew that President Trump was unlike any other bureaucrat. Well, not really bureaucrat, but kind of bureaucrat. They knew that he was unique. They knew that he was going to follow through. They knew that he just, unlike any other Republican, that he isn't going to talk the talk without walking the walk. They knew that he was crazy enough to do it. They knew that his give a shit was broken. They did. So they bowed down. They kissed the ring. They threw their temper tantrum. And then they went ahead and did what they knew they had to do in order to continue to do business here in the United States. So yeah, Trump was right to do this, to demand fair trade. Not free trade, but fair trade. You want to tax us? We're going to tax you. You want to tariff us? You're going to tariff us? We're going to tariff you. That's how it should be. It really should. And yeah, it may make prices go up for a short amount of time, but it's not going to take very long before they start doing something. Before they start lowering their prices of things so that this way they can continue to make a profit and sell things. It's not going to be long before they, lower the taxes and tariffs that they put on American goods sold in other countries. They may end up doing that. And of which case, yeah, Trump will reciprocate that. You want to lower? Okay, cool. We'll lower your tariffs then. But in the end, what does President Trump want to do? Does he want to harm the American worker, the American taxpayer? Does he want to harm the economy? No. He wants to build jobs, build opportunity. That's what he's after. He's putting America first. Not ignoring American needs, the American taxpayer, the American shopper. He's not ignoring them. He wants to strengthen our own economy, build jobs. He wants to make America great. And this is one of the ways to do it. It absolutely is. It may hurt for a little while, but who cares? Sometimes growth does. Ever heard of growing pains? That was a good show back in the day, right? Growing pains. We have that sometimes. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. This article, never mind, this is a video. Tariffs not the answer, says financial experts. Of course, that's what they say. Of course, that's what they say. And this article from Al Jazeera cracked me up. It really did. Trump's tariffs could spur push to rewrite North America trade pact. Rewrite it? Is that what they're after? Rewriting the North America trade pact? Like I already told you, this was how America operated in the beginning. We didn't have income tax. The American people wasn't taxed at all to run government. We put tariffs on other countries who wish to sell goods here in the United States. And because of doing this, because of this policy that we had in our nation's founding, we never had it so well. We made so much money. Like I said, we actually had to make a government agency in order to figure out what to do with the money we had so much coming in. Because everybody wanted to do business here in the United States. And we made them pay for that privilege. I mean, it amazes me how many things that we have to pay for here in the United States. We have to pay for all kinds of privileges. Every privilege we have to pay for. Driving your vehicle on taxpayer-funded streets, is this a right? No, it's a privilege. Therefore, that's why you have to, pay a fee to get a driver's license. It's not a right. It's a privilege, and you have to pay for that privilege. Our economy funds every single foreign government that does business here in the United States. We fund their economy. And it's high time other countries have to pay for that privilege. And if you don't want to pay for that privilege, that's fine. There's an easy way to get around that. Bring your businesses over here. More jobs. Expand the tax base. In the end, what I want to see isn't more tariffs, although I do want to see tariffs. We do got to fund the government. You know, there are things that they are supposed to be doing. It's high time not only that they do that, and we'll talk about that during the next segment, but it's high time that we get rid of the income tax. I mean, it actually came about during the First World War, I believe. That's whenever they did that, because they needed, additional funding in order to pay for everything that they were doing to fight the war. I want to double check that actually. I'm going to double check that. Before I say that, let me double check that. There we go. Boom. Okay. All right, so yeah, that's pretty accurate. World War I started in the middle of 1914, and it was that ramp up, and because it was 1913 that whenever we started, doing the income tax. Yeah, let me check that one out too. When did income tax start? Hey, that's a question that apparently other people have been starting. The 16th Amendment was on February 3rd of 1913. Okay, income tax in the United States began with the Revenue Act of 1861, which was implemented to help pay for the Civil War. The modern federal income tax was established with the ratification of the 16th Amendment on February 3rd of 1913. Yeah, so there you go. But it started to pay for a war. That's why it started. It wasn't something that was necessarily intended to be like any other government agency, policy, or rule, as in, I've heard it said, other people have said, that the closest thing to immortality is a government agency, is a government rule. Because whenever the government takes power, the last thing government wants to do is give that power back up. And that's what they did. They did something that they wasn't necessarily supposed to do. And it wasn't intended to necessarily last forever. Forever. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I return, we are going to be talking about the legal attacks against President Trump, Elon Musk with DOGE, and some of the things that they have been doing. Very interesting stuff. We're talking more about it because, I know I brought this up last week, but you know what? There's still more and more going on. So many people are up in arms about what President Trump and Elon Musk is doing with not just exposing fraud, waste, and abuse. They're afraid that they're going to start naming names. That's what they're afraid of. So just a couple minutes. Let me see which one I want to do. Let's do... Oh, yeah, by the way, so yesterday I did sock, shoe, tie. Sock, shoe, tie. That's what I did yesterday. Just a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
Alarm clock rings like a wild hurricane. Eyes half open, I'm feeling the strain. Stumble out of bed, it's another new day. What's my routine? What's the best way? First the shirt, then button it tight. Mirror reflection looking just right. Should I go sock, sock, shoe, shoe now? Or break the rules and mix it up somehow? Do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe? Or sock, shoe too? Does it matter in the morning light when your day's gonna be alright? Do Coffee brewing, let the day begin. Brush my teeth, yeah, I start to grin. Choices we make, let the fun spin. It's the little things that brighten up your day, the quirks and routines in a special way. Whether you choose to go left or right, it all comes down to feeling just right. Do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe? Or sock, shoe too? Doesn't matter in the morning light, when your day's gonna be alright. Do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe? Or sock, shoe too? Doesn't matter in the morning light, when your day's gonna be alright.
Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you? Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. All right, and we are back. This segment, we're going to be talking about DOGE. We're going to be talking about all the firings that's going on in the federal government. And, of course, we're going to be talking about what some people are trying to do to try to stop DOGE from revealing the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. Actually tried to stop them from actually cutting back on the waste, fraud, and abuse. As we're going to be talking about this segment, let's start over here with an article from Fox News. Headline, expert reveals massive levels of waste DOGE can slash from entitlements. Yeah, I mean, who would have thunk it that these entitlement programs, that there's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. Here's the fact that I want to let you in on. All right. Every single aspect of government spending, every single bit of it, across the board, every single department has fraud in it. Every single one of them. I mean, that's why, as a taxpayer, you should not want your tax dollars going to the federal government, because they don't distribute money. They don't do anything without somebody getting a kickback. That's what it amounts to. Why do you think they want to stop people, us, from finding out about the waste, the fraud, and the abuse? Because they all get kickbacks from it. They all get kickbacks from it. Not just the Democrats. The Republicans that are up there too, they get kickbacks. Why do you think they go along to get along? They go along in order to increase the size of their own bank account. That's what they do. They're terrified that with everything going on. Absolutely terrified. They don't want this to stop. They don't want their meal ticket to stop, because they get money from it. They get rich off of it. How else do you think people like AOC, who got rich going to government? A bartender turned millionaire in a very short amount of time. How do you think that happened? Because her net worth far exceeds what she makes over there in the government. She gets kickbacks. And she's not the only one. Nancy Pelosi, Bernie Sanders, all of them get kickbacks to turn their head and just let all this stuff happen. They all get kickbacks. This headline from the Babylon Bee, and I know I'm a little late bringing something from the Babylon Bee into the discussion, but this headline, it cracked me up. I had to put it in here. Of course, this is my go-to satire place, because it's satire with a purpose. And I don't think this is the only one that I put in here from the Babylon Bee. But headline, Congress announces new oversight committee to oversee government oversight committee. This is how government works. This is part of the problem. This is how they do it. Oh, they could. Cause here's the thing: they already have different agencies in place in order to find the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. But if the fraud, the waste, and the abuse is so freaking bad, what have these different agencies been doing? If their purpose for all the funding that they get from the American government is to stop waste, fraud, and abuse, then why do we have so much waste, fraud, and abuse? They're not doing their job, obviously, so it's time to get rid of them. It's time to put an end to it, and that's one of the things that he's trying to do. That's what Trump is trying to do. I seen a meme not that long ago. Actually, it was earlier today. But what you have going on is the most powerful man on the planet and the richest man on the planet are weeding out and exposing the waste, the fraud, and the abuse in the federal government. And what you have, the reaction from the left is they want to put an end to it. This is a constitutional crisis. What? I mean, this is America. We're supposed to be, governed of the people, by the people, for the people. They work at the consent of the governed. I didn't agree to all this crap. And DOGE has been exposing some of the crap that's been going on over there. They've been exposing some of the things that our tax dollars pay for. I mean, dude, we have, $37 trillion in debt? Holy crap. That's a ridiculous number. How did that happen? From all the kickbacks, from all the things that we funded. I mean, it's... We're going to be talking about this a little later. But FEMA, instead of doing what they're supposed to do, because it's Federal Emergency Management Agency. That's what FEMA stands for. Their purpose is to help the American people in an emergency, natural disaster, some other type of emergencies. That's what their job is. But what have they been spending a lot of their money on? So much money, in fact, that they couldn't just help the people over in North Carolina. They couldn't do that. And the people that they did help, they only helped them if they didn't support Donald Trump. If they had, vote for Trump signs in their yard, if they had American flags at their house, they were told, those that were over there in FEMA were directed to bypass those houses. Don't give them any aid. You didn't just get aid. You had to apply for it. The amount of money you got was ridiculously small, and you could only get the maximum amount if you were approved by government. Why? Because they gave all their money not to people in, that were victims of an emergency. They gave them to illegal aliens. This isn't a question. This isn't speculation. This is fact. These things have been uncovered by DOGE, by Elon Musk. They couldn't help American people, victims of an emergency, of a natural disaster, because they were too busy spending your money on illegal aliens. They were like, we don't have the funding to help out the people over in North Carolina because, we gave all our money to illegal aliens. Okay. And they wonder why we're wanting to expose them. This headline from the Washington Times. Musk and DOGE are doing exactly what Trump told voters they would do. See, this is part of the problem that government has with Donald Trump. He's an outsider. He doesn't have the right things on his resume. He didn't get his start in government like Nancy Pelosi, like Joe Biden. He hasn't been there for years and years like Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and others. He's not on anybody's payroll. That's the problem they have with him. He can't be bought. But unlike every other politician, especially Republicans, he does what he says. He means what he says. He says what he means. And he's following through with all his campaign promises, everything that he's told the American people on the campaign trail that he wanted to do, he's following through with it. They're furious. They weren't mad at Mitt Romney with some of the stuff that he was saying because, okay, they were mad at him, but they were mad at him because he was a Republican, not because, not because of anything that he said. They attacked him not because of that, just because he wasn't a Democrat. They wanted a Democrat in charge. But if Mitt Romney would have been elected, they would have been like, okay, fine. I mean, if you're going to have a Republican as president, it's best to have a rhino Republican as president. That's why they really overall wouldn't have been mad about it. Jeb Bush, they weren't mad about Jeb Bush going in there because they knew that Jeb Bush, Mitt Romney, a lot of these other Republicans out there, they would continue with the status quo. They would have continued the go along to get along. They wouldn't stop the government spending. They wouldn't do anything to stop all that. They wouldn't put an end to the waste, the fraud, and the abuse, that everything would continue to go on as everything has continued to go on for years. They knew this. That's why they weren't mad about it. But President Trump goes in there and he's like, okay, I want to do this, that, and the other. And then he goes in there and what does he do? He does this, he does that, he does the other. He's doing exactly what he told the voters he was going to do. And yet you have all these people, all these pundits, all these news organizations that are like, this is a threat to democracy? Really? What is a democracy? It's rule of the majority. The United States of America is not a direct democracy. We are a constitutional republic. We elect people in the office to vote how we want them to vote, but we are not a direct democracy. So even though it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things about whether or not Trump got the popular vote, he did get the popular vote. America wants Donald Trump to be doing what he's doing. They want him to weed out the corruption, to stop the spending. That's what the majority of Americans want. They voted him into office to do exactly what it is he's doing. And yet they're throwing a fit. Ermy Gurr, we can't be doing that. We can't weed out the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. We have to continue with the status quo. We don't want to lose power. We don't want to stop lining our bank accounts and yeah. President Trump and the administration, they have already begun with mass firings across government. That headline from NBC News. The job cuts are being imposed unilaterally without the approval of Congress to shrink or overhaul federal agencies. Okay, does he actually need Congress's approval to do all this? Does he? See, here's one of the problems. It hasn't been since like 2008 that we've actually operated on a budget. Because what government has been doing to America is, instead of doing the 12 appropriation bills like what they're supposed to be doing, they've been doing continuing resolutions. They've been doing omnibus bills. They've been throwing everything into one huge, massive spending bill instead of actually doing the appropriations bills. That kind of gives whoever is in charge the ability to move funds however he wants to. There isn't a bill, an appropriations bill, that says this is how much money we're spending here, this is how much money we're spending there. No, instead what they do is they put this huge amount of money, put it into a bucket and say, here's what we want you to spend it on. We're putting money in a bucket to fund this, and this. That's what they do. Excuse me. That's all they've been doing since 2008. They don't do appropriations bills anymore. They don't say this much money to this place, this much money to that place. Instead, we're putting a huge amount of money into a bucket, and this is what we're funding, but they don't say how much. That's not a limitation that's in these laws. Government hasn't been doing what they're supposed to be doing. Who's the bad guy here? Congress is the bad guy here. They want Trump to stop. Well, do your damn job. Do the 12 appropriation bills like what you're supposed to. Let's stop with the continuing resolutions. Let's stop with the omnibus bills. Let's keep it simple. That's what we're supposed to do. That's one thing Dad taught me a long freaking time ago. KISS. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. They're supposed to be doing 12 appropriation bills. That's what the Constitution says they're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing appropriations bills. Not omnibus bills. Not these huge bills that is intended to hide where they put the money at, to hide what it is that they're wanting to fund. It's a huge part of the problem. And yet, what's one of the things we've seen recently? Oh, we got another continuing resolution. Why? That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You got elected in the office to do your job. Do the 12 appropriations bills. Let's cut with the fraud, the waste, and the abuse, but yet they're not doing it. When I seen that headline not that long ago, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But they've been eliminating jobs. They've been shutting down government websites. They've been doing all this to get rid of the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. This headline from CBS News. Trump administration fires over 400 DHS employees as a mass firing continues. I was like, yes, let's get rid of these people. Let's fire more people. Fire more stinking people. That's what we need to do. That's exactly what we need to do. Get rid of these people. This headline from the Washington Examiner. Sweeping layoffs hit federal energy and environment employees across agencies. Absolutely. As they should. Every single little thing that the government wants to do, they build a bureaucracy to do it. Bureaucracies that take money to operate. People that want to get paid for their, for their jobs, doing their work. We're going to have this new tax, and then we're going to make an agency, a department within the IRS or anywhere, and they're going to oversee this, and they're going to get paid to do it. And then you're going to have oversight on this, and they're going to get paid to do it. But are they actually oversighting anything? Are they actually trying to stop the waste, the fraud, and the abuse? No. That's one of the things that Elon Musk has uncovered. There is no oversight. There is no oversight. None at all. This headline from, that's not a headline, that's a video. Okay, never mind. So you have all this work that Elon Musk is doing for Donald Trump. And one of the things that, this headline from CBS News: Purge of government employees underway at FBI and other agencies. That's the one that I was trying to look up. But here's one of the things that you're seeing. Okay. Let me bring up a few articles right quick. I do apologize. It's going to take me just a minute because there's quite a few different articles on this topic alone. Oh, holy crap. Yeah, there's a lot of articles in there. All right, but let's start with this one. This headline's from Red State. Judge blocks Trump admin from mass firings. Restrains acting CFPB director from doing job. You have this headline from G in Politics. Lawsuit to stop Elon Musk from disseminating government gets a tough judge. They're trying to stop him. They're trying to shut it down. They're trying to continue with the continue with the massive fraud, the waste, and the abuse. You have judges, federal judges, that are trying to stand in the way. Just put an end to it. And in order to make them not seem quite so stupid, this headline from Just the News: Judge clarifies that Trump has authority to stop, to pause funding and orders comply with existing statutes. Well, this actually leads me to a very obvious question. This headline is true, and let's say that it is. Judge clarifies that Trump has authority to pause funding if orders comply with existing statutes. Here's what I want to know. Here's the obvious question. Does the statute support and claim that there's supposed to be the waste, the fraud, and the abuse? Are you telling me that this is part of the statute? I mean, they're basically outright admitting that what Trump is doing is perfectly legal with putting an end to the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. They're flat saying it right here that, okay, look, yes, he has the power to do this. Yes, he has the authority to do this, but only if it complies with the existing statutes. You're telling me that waste and fraud and the abuse is part of the statute? No, it's not. Of course it isn't. They're flat admitting that what President Trump is doing, he can do. So why the outrage? Why are they trying to stop Trump in the first place? Why are all these judges, these activist judges, trying to put an end to it? Because they're trying to maintain the status quo. That's what they're trying to do. This headline from Real Clear Politics: the judicial resistance is setting itself up for an epic smackdown. Whenever I first seen this picture, I thought that this was like, I almost thought the President Trump was flipping somebody off. I really did. I'm like, wait, oh no, that's a pen. Never mind. He's holding his hand wrong. I'm like, wow, I thought that was hilarious. I really did. The bottom line is, of course, he can do exactly what it is that he's wanting to do, even though you have these various judges that are stepping in and trying to stop him. These federal judges. And this is where we get to the title of today's show. Are lesser courts greater than the president? It's a simple question. And the simple answer to this is no. And you really should be able to figure this out by just reading the headline. Now, of course, granted, I used the mathematical symbols of lesser and greater. I used those. But even still, the title is clear. Are courts, lesser courts, greater than the president? And of which case, of course, the answer to that question is no. No. Lesser courts ain't greater than the president. It's a lesser court. I mean, we have three separate but equal branches of the United States government. The executive branch, whose job is to represent American interests abroad and protect the American border. That's what the executive branch's job is, to faithfully execute the laws of the land. They don't have the right to do whatever the hell they want to. They don't have the right to write laws. They don't have the right to do any of that crap. Faithfully execute the laws of the land. And of which case, by the way, one of the laws of the land is to protect the border. And yet, we don't. We got Congress, and their job is to represent the people. And to represent, in the case of the Senate, prior to the 17th Amendment, which I'm completely against, but to represent the states. Their job is to write laws. And then you have the judicial branch, housed in the Supreme Court. Their job is to represent the Constitution by settling disagreements posed against Congress or the president, to settle differences and disputes, to weigh whatever question is being asked against the Constitution, and is this decision, is this action legal, or is it not? Is it constitutional, or is it not? You have these federal judges that was established by Congress. And you're going to tell me that these lesser courts established by Congress, one of the three branches of the federal government, that they for some reason have the power to do anything against a president? No, they don't. And besides, their job, any judge's job, and this is what their job is. They're not supposed to be political. They're supposed to be apolitical. It isn't about the politics at all. Their job, in its simplest form, is to defend the law. That's what their job is. Their job is to defend the law. That's what they're supposed to do. You know, prosecuting attorneys, their job is to discover the truth. Their job is in truth. It's not to prosecute this person. It's not to prosecute that person. It's to discover, it's to find out. It is to defend the law, sure, but their job is to reveal what the truth is. An attorney, you know, their job is to defend their client. I mean, I'm making everything as simple and as basic as possible. That's what their job is. Guard the borders, represent American interests abroad, represent the American people within a certain state, represent the state, defend the Constitution, settle differences. And these lesser courts is to guard the law. It's pretty stinking obvious. Or at least I would think it's obvious. I mean, wouldn't you think it's obvious? I think it's obvious. Defend the law. How hard is that? That's what their job is. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Why aren't they doing it? Instead, you have these activist judges that are doing anything but defending the law. They're defending a way of life. They're defending, they're defending all these corrupt individuals. They're trying to stop the president from doing his job, something that he is constitutionally allowed to do. And really not just allowed to do. I mean, this is basically what his job is. Like, he's supposed to be doing this. It's not just his job, it's his duty to do this. To clean up corruption. That's his job. That's his job. I seen this headline and I had to laugh because, again, this is really an example of the FA and FO, isn't it? It really is. This headline from Newsmax: Republicans move to impeach multiple federal judges. Oh, he can't do that. He can't do that, Ermiger. We can't do that. He can't impeach these judges. Dude, why not? Because a judge's job is to defend the law. Not to be an activist. They're ignoring the law by going after the president for doing his job. Who needs to be put in check here? You going to FA? It's high time you FO. Absolutely. They're moving to impeach these multiple federal judges that aren't federal judges, that don't do their job. They don't defend the law. They don't try to hold up the law, to protect the law. They don't try to put actual criminals away. They're doing nothing more than just political. That's all they're doing. They're protecting politics. They're trying to protect the status quo. That's what they're doing. And obviously, because they're not doing their actual job, they should be impeached. And I really hope that this follows through. I really do hope this follows through. Because I know I, for one, I'm not interested in more hearings. I'm not interested in more investigations. I really don't care. Okay? It's not what I want. I want to stop the Bravo Sierra. I want to put an end to the bullshit. It needs to stop. These judges that are more interested in party politics have no business being on the bench. They need to be removed. The waste and fraud and the abuse needs to be stopped. These things need to be defunded. These people that attacked the president, that broke the law in doing so, these criminals, it doesn't just need to be exposed. We already know. We know plenty. We know enough. We know far more than what we need to. You're never going to stop the corruption until you call it out, sure. I mean, that is an important step, that the American people actually know what the hell's going on. But more important than that, they need to be held to account. They need to go to jail. You're never going to stop the behavior until you punish the behavior. I mean, it really is that simple. It needs to stop. We need to put an end to it. And you're never going to stop it. You're never going to get the next guy. You're never going to keep him from doing it until you punish the behavior. We need to see people go to jail. And honestly, I'm never going to be happy until these people go to jail. Never. They need to go to jail. You want to FO? It's time you find out. This is America. It's governed through the consent of the governed, and I don't consent. Not even a little bit. Not any. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when I return, we're going to be talking about the border. We're going to be talking about AOC. We're going to be talking about some of these other people, the stance that the left has against deporting all these illegal aliens? We'll talk about that right on the other side of the break.
Oscar walked these dusty trails with a stride so full of pride. A man built tough from head to toe, nothing he had to hide. Below his knee he'd had some strife, a leg not of his own, but every step he took in life, you'd never see him moan. Leather boots and iron will, his spirits never flag. O'er fields and farms he'd till the ground, beside an old plow's drag. Folks would whisper on the street, how does he stand so tall? But Oscar just grinned ear to ear, I'm stronger than you all. Oscar's boots keep moving on, no matter what comes down. Through the night so dark and cold, or the sun-baked golden ground. He's got a heart of solid bronze, and a mind that's sharp and vast. Oscar shows us every day, the future's not the past. He drove an old Ford pickup truck, rusty but it ran, hauling every load and dream, this mighty simple man. Kids would gather around his feet just to hear him talk about the days he fought and won, the life within his walk. His leg don't slow his spirit down, can't keep a good man still. Every morning up at dawn, plowing through sheer will. Worn out jeans and calloused hands, an emblem of pure grit. Oscar's story traveled far, a fire that never quit. Oscar's boots keep moving on, no matter what comes down. Through the night so dark and cold, or the sun-baked golden ground. He's got a heart of solid bronze, and a mind that's sharp and vast. Oscar shows us every day, the future's not the past. The future's not the past.
Do you work at any of the myriad of jobs where you might have to sit on your bum all day? Well, if so, maybe you know what it's like to suffer from the condition known as swamp ass. Well, if so, have I got the solution for you.
Anti-monkey butt powder.
That's right.
Anti-monkey butt powder.
You can use it indoors, outdoors, work or play, or on any occasion when you sit on your bum all day. Don't let your buns get red. Use anti-monkey butt powder instead. Available wherever anti-friction powder is sold. All right, and we are back. So we're going to start with this, the border. Well, not exactly the border, actually. We're going to be starting with the resistance against deporting illegal aliens. That's what they are. Let's call them what they are. Let's call it what it is. They are illegal aliens. They're not undocumented migrants. You know, they're illegals. That's what they are. Let's use proper terminology. And you know, that's something I'm actually very proud about Trump and the Trump administration, is for actually making, and this is what's hilarious. This is what's awesome. You know, the Democrats are used to creating the language. You know, they're used to being able to change the language. They're used to being able to, you know, make it whatever it is. They're used to being able to redefine things to better suit what it is that they're trying to do. And, you know, and the administration ain't having it. They're like, no. They're not undocumented migrants. They're illegal aliens. That's what they are. Let's use the proper terminology for them. Let's use the actual legal, you know, the word. Let's call them what it is. They're not letting the left get away with it. They're not. They're not even a little bit, and I applaud them for it. Absolutely. I applaud them for that. It's high time that we actually call it what it is. It's high time we stop letting the left just call something whatever it is they want to call it. And in the meantime, what do Republicans have to do? What do conservatives have to do? We have to defend our position. Why? We shouldn't have to defend our position. We should make them defend theirs. What? Why is it you want all these illegal aliens over here? I mean, really, isn't that a good question? I mean, let's not question let's not question that we're trying to deport them and actually adhere to the law. Why is that part of the question? Why do you want them here? Why are you upset that you might lose your gardener? Why are you upset? Why are you upset that we're trying to get rid of your slaves? Because let's be clear, okay? That's what this is. This is modern slavery here in America. The left wants them here. Why? It's cheap labor. You don't have to pay them as much as you have to an American worker. They don't like that. They want to save money. They want to have these illegals here. It's modern day slavery. I mean, Democrats try to tell you all the time that they're against slavery. Of course we're against slavery. We don't want slaves here in America. Then why are you promoting this? Why are you promoting illegals coming here to America as cheap labor if you're against slavery? Isn't that what slavery was? It was about cheap labor. It's modern day slavery. Let's call it what it is. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. Instead, they want to resist. They want to try to tell you that all this immigration is about these children and women, and we gotta continue to do this because this person that wasn't able to use the app in order to get over here illegally, well, they're crying on the other side of the border right now. We need to bring them over. We can't be deporting illegal aliens because they're nothing more than just women and children, right? That's what they say. And you have President Trump who wants to put an end to not just the crossings of illegal aliens, which they've done. I mean, the illegal crossings is down like 87%. It's working, people. Illegal border crossings is down 87%. It's a miracle. I mean, I thought Biden said that he couldn't do anything without congressional support. Without Congress writing a law, he couldn't do jack diddly squat. But Trump gets in the office. And even before Trump, well, no, I can't really say that because they tried to jump across the border before he became president. There was a lot of illegal border crossings. But as soon as he became president, what did we see? Holy crap. 3 weeks into it, down 87%. Wow. A miracle happened. But now the job isn't just to shut down the illegal border crossings, it's to get rid of those that did cross illegally. Putting an end to such things as DACA, which, by the way, is unconstitutional. Congress didn't write that as a law. It was an executive order done by Obama. How is that legal? I don't even know, but it, for some reason, was allowed to happen. Congress didn't do anything to stop it. It actually irritated me quite a bit whenever I believe it was the Supreme Court that stepped in and said, no, Mr. President, you can't put an end to DACA even though we know it was unconstitutional. You got to keep that in place. That made no sense to me. Well, again, instead of people that were interested in protecting the Constitution and defending the Constitution, which is what their job is to do, they are more interested in party politics, the status quo. The Supreme Court was actually established to be apolitical. It really was. It's not supposed to be about politics. It's supposed to be about the Constitution being the supreme law of the land. It's what it's supposed to be. This headline from the Daily Signal. Wow, that was weird. Okay, so this headline from the Daily Signal. Why is the brightness so far down on that? Hold on one second. Let me work on this because there's something going on here and it isn't right. Let me pull this up. I apologize. Give me just a second. I know this is in here somewhere. There we go. There we go. Now I think I got it fixed. Okay, now I'm happy. Let's go ahead and be happy. So this headline from the Daily Signal, let's get back into it. Democrats plan state-level resistance to federal GOP trifecta. They're trying to stop him from actually doing his job. They are resisting these various governors in these various states. The mayors they're wanting to maintain their sanctuary city status to try to resist President Trump from actually doing what it is he said he was going to do. You have this headline from the National Review. HHS spent over $22 billion on giveaways to illegal immigrants over the past 4 years. $22 billion. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. See, this is what it amounts to, okay? This is really what it amounts to because, yes, the argument, we're kind of switching a little bit. We're not really switching. We're kind of refocusing a little bit here because, here's one of the things that the left were trying to say whenever it came to USAID. That it's not about the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. It's about this USAID, their funding only amounts to like 1% of the national budget. They're ignoring that these dollar amounts are still huge. They're huge to the American people. They are life-changing to the American people. All this waste, fraud, and abuse, this is life-changing to you or me. I mean, if I were to get half of this money, I'd be a happy man. I really would be. I seen something a while back ago, earlier today. Maybe it was yesterday. It was talking about being in government. You can't get rich in government unless you're corrupt. Nancy Pelosi, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Presley, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer. These people are corrupt as hell. How do you think they got rich? Anyway, spent $22 billion on illegal immigrants. Yeah. Shouldn't we put a stop to that? I think we should. And one of the things that I really want to see happen, okay, this is what I want to see happen. You see, so many of these states, California, Illinois, New York, they kind of depend on money coming from government. They really do. They can't do what it is that they do unless they get government funding to do it. All the social programs that they have, they don't bring in enough money to pay for all this. They'd be bankrupt. And I would love to see, it's like, okay, this is fine. Actually, there's two different aspects of this. There really is, okay? First and foremost, if you want to be a sanctuary state or a sanctuary city, okay, fine. All your funding is now cut off because we're no longer, because the American people, the American government should not have the bill placed on them. I shouldn't have the bill. I shouldn't have to pay the bill for what California or New York is doing. I shouldn't have to pay that bill. Not at all. Why are they receiving federal money to violate federal laws? All their government assistance, all their grant money, all the aid that they get should be cut off immediately, first and foremost. And then if you still want to continue to play games, now, because what you're doing is illegal, aiding and abetting is illegal. Harboring criminals are illegal, and that's exactly what these illegal aliens are. It's even in the name. You cross the border illegally, you are a criminal because it is not legal to do so. It's not. These people should be held to account for aiding and abetting. It's illegal. They're making an environment to attract these illegal aliens. And they have their reasons for doing so. And I've talked about this on previous episodes. But if you want to FA, it's time you find out. Because these people are breaking the law, and yes, they are breaking the law. They're harboring criminals. They are helping support criminals. It's time they pay the price. One of the things that we seen not all that long ago was regarding AOC and what she had to say to the illegal aliens. You see, there was a video that she posted where she was putting instructions out there to illegals on how to avoid ICE. ICE, baby. Yeah. It's like, wait a second. Isn't this aiding? Kind of part of aiding and abetting? Isn't this an illegal activity to help, to guide, to teach criminals how to continue to be criminals and avoid law enforcement? Isn't there something illegal about this? Well, yeah, there is. This headline from Just the News: Borders are home, and refers AOC to justice after her office's advice to illegals on how to avoid ICE. Yeah. They need to be held to account. You want to FA? It's time you find out. You want to aid and abet? It's time you go to jail. This headline from Crap. Red State. Border czar Homan takes AOC to school after her office hosts anti-ICE webinar. Because that's what it amounts to. Her providing aid, helping out, giving illegals directions on how to avoid criminality. It is illegal. How long do you think it would take? This is a real question, actually. How long do you think it would take? Real numbers. Give me a time frame here. How long do you think it would take for these sanctuary cities to be non-sanctuary cities anymore? How long do you think it would take for these sanctuary states to stop being sanctuary states? How long, how long do you think it would take for them to wise up once you started putting people in prison? Gavin Newsom? J.B. Pritzker? How long do you think it would take for AOC to be locked up for aiding and abetting? How long do you think it would take for them to stop once you start throwing them in jail? Showing them that, you know what? Laws mean something. And if you're going to break the law, you're going to go to jail. You do the crime, you do the time. These people think they're untouchable just because of their high positions. I thought this was America. I thought everybody was supposed to be held to the same standard. I thought we were supposed to have equal application of the law here. Not just law that is applied to whomever they want to apply the law to. You see, that's one of the things here, okay? I mean, that's actually the heart behind a lot of the things the government does. They don't want to appeal these laws. They just pick and choose whom they're going to affect, who's exempt from the laws. They just change how they enforce the laws. They don't actually change the law. They're not interested in doing that because, you know, if you remove the law, you also remove their power to enforce the law, to hold certain people accountable based off of their views, based off of their political affiliation. That's what it amounts to. You see, they don't want to eliminate the immigration laws and actually let people come here more legally. They just want only the people that they know are going to be beholden to the Democrat Party to come over here. They don't want people whom are actually completely and utterly against communism to come over here, because then they're going to be against the Democrat Party, and they don't want that. They got to have them come here. The ones that they want to come here. You know, that's part of the heart behind, you know, the decriminalization of drugs, using drugs, you know, because if they really thought they should be decriminalized, then they would change their stance legally on doing drugs. Instead, they want to pick and choose who the law is going to affect. But the laws in this case hasn't changed. The enforcement policies of said laws has. And the only thing the president has to do is hold them accountable. I mean, that's really it. We're going to cut your funding if you don't step in line. The laws are in place for a reason. You're no longer going to benefit from the federal government if you actually aren't going to help enforce their laws, or at least get out of the way. You want to aid and abet, then you need to go to jail. AOC needs to go to jail. You want to FA, why don't you FO? I guess that can kind of go two different ways, can't it? That's funny. Yeah. How long do you really think it would take? Let me know. Let me know down in the comments. Send me an email. How long do you think it would actually take for these various people, governors, mayors, how long do you think it would take? How many people do you think are actually going to have to go to jail for them to stop with what it is that they're doing? And honestly, I don't think it would take very long. Throw AOC in jail for aiding and abetting? I think the rest of them would keep their mouth shut. I absolutely think they would. You know, I love it how, you know, you got, you know, everybody's equal. We're just doing our job. We're going to make an example of this person, but yet the person whom they are making an example out of is somebody whom they hate. You know, they weren't interested in making an example of Hillary Clinton, but they wanted to make an example of Donald Trump. Even though they had to violate the law in order to do it, they were like, we're making an example because nobody is above the law. Okay, well, why aren't you making an example out of Hillary Clinton? Why aren't you making an example out of Obama? Why aren't you making an example out of Joe Biden or his son Hunter Biden? Why is it you're only making an example out of somebody you hate? That's not making an example out of somebody. That's just using lawfare for the sake of using lawfare. You make an example out of somebody you like. Oh, man, you know, I don't want to do this. I really don't. Unfortunately, we have laws. We have policies. And, you know, I just can't allow this behavior to continue. It's one of the ways you can tell the difference between a conservative in most other political affiliations. That's how you can tell the difference between a Democrat and a Republican. You see, whenever the Democrats say that, oh, you're going to expose Republicans for what you're doing and for what DOGE is doing, real Republicans and conservatives and libertarians are like, good. They need to be exposed. We need to put an end to it. We're not going to back down just because some Republicans may be exposed and go to jail. Yeah. We want that. I mean, I don't do this podcast to promote Republicans. It's not why I'm here. Shit. Defending the Constitution. That's what this show's about. Defending the Constitution. The Constitution actually means something to me. Our founding fathers, whom were young, they like to attack the members of DOGE for saying, oh, these are kids that just, they don't know, and, they're just, whatever. They're trying to attack them because of their age. Our government was founded by people who were young. What, the oldest guy was in his low to mid 30s? Most of them were in their, low 20s or upper teenage years. 19 years old, some of them. That's who founded this country. And you're going to go after Big Balls because he's young. Takes a brass pair to go against the grain and actually hold these people whom have way more power than them accountable for the things they're doing. Takes some balls to do that. I thought it was hilarious. And yeah, we'll go to this article, this headline, because this is something I actually passed up in the beginning of the show. Yeah, I very much. This is something I meant to do in the very beginning of the show. I really did, because I like the, I told you that I had 2 articles from the Babylon Bee that I was going to be talking about today. I did. And you know what? Actually, we'll start this up at the next segment. We really will. Let's get back onto the current, with the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. Well, more so with the illegal aliens. That's what President Trump wants to do. He wants to hold these people accountable, put them in jail for actually breaking the law. What AOC said in her video that was to aid and help and give illegals advice on how to avoid ICE, how to avoid being deported. This was illegal. AOC needs to go to jail. She absolutely does. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When I get back, we're actually going to talk about... No, I can't. I'm doing a show, man. Leave me alone. Anyway, yeah. So, just a couple minutes and I will be right back. Let's talk about, this is about Swamp Ass. Yeah, this is a good song. Just a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Sun's beating down on my tractor seat. Dusty road rising, no shade or retreat. Worked up a sweat, Lord, it ain't fair. Now there's a swamp brewing under there. Boots are dragging through the mud all thick. From all this work, the sweat starts to stick. Chafing and burning got a real high cost. Feels like I'm melting, lost in the salt. Swamp ass blues, oh, it's tough to bear. Sweat soaking through my underwear. I'd take a cool breeze over this damn heat, but it's a life out here in the farmer's seat. Hung my shirt to dry on the old fence post. Try to cool down with the sun still roast. Every step's a battle, this swamp won't quit. losing the fight in this summer grit. Neighbors wave, think I've lost my mind, but it's the heat that's making me grind. Buckets of ice won't even come close to drying up this southern coast. Swamp ass blues, I can't take much more. Might jump in the creek just to restore. Wish for that rain or an autumn breeze to dry these blues and find some peace. Neighbors wave, think I've lost my mind, but it's the heat that's making me grind. Buckets of ice won't even come close to drying up this southern coast. Swamp ass blues, I can't take much more. Might jump in the creek just to restore. Wish for that rain or an autumn breeze to dry these blues and find some peace.
Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you? Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. All right, and we are back. Now, yes, as I said at the end of the last segment, this is actually how I was supposed to start the show. This is what was intended at the very beginning of the show. Now, y'all know how I like to start the show. I like to start off with a little bit of ha-ha, a little bit of funny. And the place that I go to for satire news is the Babylon Bee, because it is satire with a purpose. Yes, it is. This headline from the Babylon Bee. And again, this is funny. I read this, I laughed. And of which case, if this is you, let me be clear. You're part of the problem. Abso-freaking-lutely. All these people that are doing this, they are part of the problem. Headline: study finds people trying to stop financial audit have absolutely nothing to hide. And of which case, like I said, if you believe this, you're part of the problem. I seen this headline. I had to laugh. I really did. I didn't read the article. I didn't, because like I said, it's satire, and this was about the headline, not necessarily about the article itself. I had to laugh. And you know, this is one thing that I love about Trump. I really do. I love the fact that he's not a politician. I do. I love that. I love that about Trump. Don't you? Don't you love that about Trump? He's not a politician. He's not. He means what he says. He does what he means. He's doing this for the American people. He's doing this for you and me. He's doing this, in short, to make America great again. Our nation actually means something to him. He's not a politician. He wants to weed out the corruption. He wants to stop the abuse. He wants to make these people accountable, and they're terrified of him. They really are. They are absolutely terrified of him. And one of the things that the president is immensely, amazingly great at is being a troll. That's what he's great at. He's great at being a troll. You know, he's great at, you know, just using absurdity in calling out these people for what it is that they're doing, the attacks on him. He uses their own absurdity against them. This headline from PJ Media, I guess. Town Hall, maybe. Yeah. This headline, Trump's most epic trolling yet is hanging outside the Oval Office. Did you guys see this? Did you see this? This is hilarious. In this picture that's currently on the screen, head on over to rumble.com, the HohO show, and you can catch the video. It's right there. This is the infamous mugshot that's hanging in the hallway outside the Oval Office. That is absolutely hilarious to me. It really is. You know, I mean, dude, this is the thing that actually cracked me up very much about his mugshot, you know, because you know that President Trump probably spent hours in front of the mirror perfecting this look, because he knew prior to getting, you know, the mugshot, he knew he was getting it. And he wanted to portray something. He wanted to say something with a look that was obvious and clear. His mugshot will forever reign in history because, I mean, this is even the pose, the look that was used in the presidential portrait. It's hilarious. It is a troll. This is something that only a troll would do. The infamous mugshot hanging in the hallway just outside the Oval Office. Epic. It really is. I thought it was hilarious. President Trump has his Fulton County mugshot hanging up outside the Oval Office. I mean, look at this picture. There it is, New York Post. Bam, right there in a frame. A nice frame. That's a lovely frame, isn't it? That is a nice frame. Just look at that frame. Look at it. His mugshot hanging out there, you know, but yeah. Look at that mugshot. Look at that look on his face. He ain't happy. I thought that was hilarious. This was something that just whenever I read this, whenever I heard it, both, I had to laugh. I really did. Because this is Trump in a nutshell, isn't it? This is what he does. He calls out the absurdity. He turns it on its head. Everything that the Democrat Party is doing to try to stop him, to try to shut him up, to try to silence him, everything that they're trying to do, it's been backfiring, hasn't it? They've been going after Trump for better part of a decade. They have been. They've been going after him ever since, well, even really before. And honestly, some of these attacks even started before he even announced a long time ago during the Obama administration. They started attacking him. They tried to humiliate him. They tried to make him into a fool, thinking that that was going to stop him. And when it didn't, they used tax dollars, money from us, in order to fund their attacks on him. That's what they did. Disgraceful. The mugshot was hilarious. It really was. The look on his face, which you know he practiced. You know he did. Calling out their stupidity. Calling out the lawfare that they've been using against him since the beginning. Turning them on their heads, letting them know that, no, you guys are the fools. There's some headlines that I had read, some stuff that's going on in the press corps. we're going to touch base on some of that stuff. Because, I mean, like, really, there's quite a bit more I can talk about, because I got articles in here about RFK Jr. being sworn in. Kash Patel, has he been sworn in yet or no? Are they still trying to hold him up? I don't completely remember. But there's quite a few different things in here. Let's see. Trump makes it easier to fire government workers who don't implement administration policies. Yeah, as they should be. I mean, let's be honest. Their job is to carry out the policies of the president. And if they're not going to do their job, then they should be eliminated from their job. They should be fired. They should be terminated. You know, in all honesty, that's the reason why I have zero sympathy for any of these people. You know, zero sympathy. Okay, you had the Democrats' government cheer whenever Biden shut down fracking, whenever he shut down drilling, and whenever he shut down all of this stuff. You know, they cheered. And what did they say to the American people that lost their job? They said, boo-hoo, learn to code. But now you have these people in a huge government that isn't actually doing their job, and then they're going to cry about being fired for not doing their job. And they want to say, woe is me, woe is me. They want to have your sympathy. And they're trying to tell you that, oh, this is unconstitutional. He can't do this. We want to stop him. They're trying to gain the hearts of the American people. And it's like, dude, I have no sympathy for you. You haven't been doing your job. You wasn't there for me when I lost my job. I mean, not me personally, but these people, you know, those that were in the oil industry, those that were in the coal and natural gas industry, you weren't there for them. I mean, you pushed that along. You weren't there for them when they lost their job, and now you want my sympathy when you lose yours? They were doing their job. Trump policies made America great again. Made America a net exporter of oil. This was a good thing. We weren't beholden to countries that hated us for our energy, for our gas, for our oil. But for, you know, you want us to feel sorry for you? Learn to code. Learn to code. That's my response. That's my answer to you. Don't cry. Learn to code. You weren't doing your job anyway. You know, these government employees that you know, work from home, you know, it really isn't all that hard to learn, okay? It really isn't. Because one of the things these people do is they, you know, these people that work from home, because there's no oversight with this, is what they do is they kind of, you know, these companies that employ them, these people that are involved in the oversight of people who work from home, one of the things that they look at is computer activity. What's your mouse doing? And is what these people decided they were going to do, and you know, and you've seen a huge uptick. And I'd really like to see the numbers on this, okay? Because there's a device that will randomly move your mouse to make it look like you're active on your computer. This way, somebody whom is working from home can do whatever the hell they want to, and nobody's of the wiser. That the tracking, the modes of tracking that businesses have in order to keep their employees accountable who work from home, that they would be none the wiser and they would be able to get away with it. But here's the thing, though. All of these so-called random mouse movers, they're not that random. And you can even tell by the movements of the mouse what mouse mover they're using. It wouldn't be hard to actually check, and I believe this is something that Elon Musk even talked about. I know I read that article somewhere that they can actually find out not only who is using mouse movers to hide their activity, to try to make it harder for them to, for us to see that they're not actually doing their job, but they can even tell which mouse mover they're using. Woe is me. Woe is us, the American people. I mean, we're dealing with inflation right now. We're dealing with the rising cost of everything. Price of food skyrocketed. Price of gas at the pump skyrocketed. Our economy is in shambles because the government would much rather fund all of their pet projects. They'd much rather just dump billions of dollars into the economy instead of actually doing something to fix it. And the bloated government is trying to convince the American people that what they do, nothing, or the illegal activity that they're doing, that they're not supporting the president, or maybe they are, but they're not supporting the Constitution, and they're trying to say that woe is me whenever their job gets put on the chopping block. Learn to code. That's what their response was to the millions of Americans that lost their job whenever their policies were enacted. Policies that maybe some of them weren't unconstitutional, but it wasn't in the best interest of America. I mean, so many of Biden's policies was actually against American interests. I mean, President Biden, I hate even saying that, but President Biden, oh, that hurts. It hurts saying that. He shut down drilling. He shut down fracking. And then he lifted a ban on Russia's pipeline. And trying to say that, that all is good here. So many of their policies, the moratorium on mining for rare earth minerals, just so we can buy all of our batteries from China. Was that a policy meant to further American interests, or was that a policy that was to further Chinese interests? I mean, so many of these politicians, including Biden, are bought and paid for by foreign countries. They are. We've uncovered a lot of this fraud. We've uncovered a lot of this. Has anything happened? No. Will anything happen? I don't know. Only time will tell. I hope something does. And like I said earlier in the show, that until we actually see people not just called out for their fraud, for their theft of taxpayer dollars, until these people are not just called out for their crimes, until they actually start going to prison, not just removed, not just taken off their throne, not just elected out of office, but until they honestly go to jail, we will never see a change. Never see it end. We'll never see it stop because they have no reason to. When there's no consequences for your actions are not going to cease or desist. It's not. They have no reason to stop until you start putting people in prison. You're not going to see it stop. Because if nothing happens, the next time another Democrat gets in the office, they're going to do the same thing again. And we will have demonstrated that that's okay. You can do whatever you want to. You can continue with the waste, the fraud, and the abuse, because whenever a Democrat gets into office, until we see actual things happen to people, you're just going to get more of the same. That's not what America wants. That's not what we voted for in the last election. It's not what we voted for again. These Republicans want to maintain control or get more control, bigger margins. Then you need to start doing your job. You need to start honoring your oath. You need to support the president. We support him. That's why we voted for him. That's why we went down ballot and voted for them too. If you don't fall in line, then you're going to be removed from your seat, because we ain't going to come back to the ballot box and defend you if you're not going to do your job and defend us. This is a representative government. You're supposed to represent us, not yourselves. But that's what we see in Washington. That's what the problem is. It's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. The problem is they need to be reminded. They do. It's one of the huge differences between Democrats and Republicans. We want that kind of stuff to stop. Crap. Okay, there it is. It's coming back. Democrats want the status quo to be maintained. They want they don't want to lose power. We want accountability. We really do. I'm having issues with something. I apologize. You know what? Let's take a quick break. Well, no, we're actually about ready to end it. This is going to be interesting. All right, so I thank you very much for stopping by. I really do. Thank you for listening to the show, watching the show. I really do appreciate it. I see you guys out there. I really do. I've seen some growth in the channel. That's very exciting to me. It really is. There's been a lot of changes in WSP and, with the radio station and everything else going on. I'm excited about these changes. I really am. Definitely, if you would, give me a like, give me a subscribe, all that other kind of good stuff. It really does help the channel. I appreciate it. Y'all have yourself a great one, and I will see you in the next one. Crap. This has been The HoHo Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.